Hi sewing friends, this is a totally different video to the ones that you're accustomed to. It's going to talk about a topic that a lot of you have been bringing up in the comments for a little while now, and I wanted to just talk about it once and that's it. And in the future, if there's any more comments about it, I can just refer back to this video. And it's certainly not a topic I want to discuss a lot over here on this channel. This channel is all about sewing. It's about creativity. It's about getting really professional looking garments with really neat tricks, tutorials. I like the fashion bit a lot. What can I say? That is the main focus of the channel. But as usual, with all the videos that I show, when I demonstrate how the items fit on me, when I do fitting adjustments and things, you are obviously looking at me a lot, just my face, but then there are full body shots as well. You can see me from head to toe modeling my garments. And I've been doing this since 2017 when I started the channel. It was always super important to have a really good look at how a garment fits and moves and flows. And that's why I've always taken video footage of my makes and not just photos. So why am I saying all of this? A lot of you have noticed and commented that I've lost weight, and that is true. Now, I am of the idea that I don't usually comment that sort of thing to anyone in real life and online. I will never go to someone, even if I have noticed a difference, either if someone's gained weight or lost weight, I am never the one that will tell the person, you've lost weight or you've gained weight, assuming this or that, or having that judgment in my head. I know having judgments is something that you can have internally. You can't really help what you think. I think that there is a process where you can actually sometimes just stop right there, keep what you think up here in your mind and not verbalize it. As many of you know, I'm a midwife. That's my profession. I have stopped being a midwife for quite a few years now due to my husband's moving around different countries. I can't practice legally here in Brazil. I couldn't practice in Bolivia either. So let's say I'm semi-retired, but I did have a lot of experience dealing with women and feelings that they have around their bodies. In a profession like a midwife, you do actually see a woman's body entirely when they're giving birth, during prenatal checkups and all of that. So it's quite an in-depth look at how women feel about their bodies. And I have always been super respectful. I would never discuss weight gain or weight loss with anyone unless they talk about it to me, and then we can have a discussion about it. So I know not everyone thinks the same. This has always been a channel where I don't want to body shame myself because I know how that feels. I have experienced that from other creators, not in the sewing world, but in different areas as well, where they pick tiny little things about their body and they go on and on about why they don't like this, why they don't like that. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing that to yourself? And it doesn't just hurt the person talking about themselves in that way, but it can also hurt the people watching that type of content. So I have never wanted to bring in that type of talk over here at Lifting Pins and Needles. I've always just wanted to be super honest about the size I'm sewing. I have mentioned here and there I have gained weight. I have mentioned here and there I have lost weight, but it's something secondary to sewing because it does influence sewing. For sewing, we're taking measurements of our bodies. You know, if you're doing this quite frequently like I am, because I'm sewing a lot, I always know what my bust measures, you know, what my high bust is, what my waist is, you know, all those little things. I'm really aware if, you know, measurements are larger or smaller, I'm always aware. But it's not something I'm going to discuss here, and never in a negative way or a positive way. We're just keeping it neutral. Just saying, you know, this is an extra large, this is a size 18, this is a full bust, this is a regular bust, this is what I did to the dart, you know. For example, I felt I was going to be more comfortable if I had more ease at the waist, just personal preference. That is the type of language that I want to show here, because I want this to be a space that's happy, that's safe, that no one feels bad about themselves. And it's really truly what I believe in. You know, in my regular life, I would never go up to a friend and discuss weight loss or weight gain because you don't really know what's happening. You know, I've known from firsthand some friends are going through a horrible, rough time emotionally with their mental health, sometimes marital problems, which means they've lost a lot of weight and it hasn't been something that has been intentional or voluntary. And then you have people commenting to them, you look amazing, you've lost so much weight, when inside they know that the reason why that happened wasn't positive. Sometimes someone's grieving the loss of a loved one. So I never want to assume that any change that I perceive as a certain way is either positive or negative for someone else. So there's all these things, there's all these nuances that go along to how a person looks. And so that's why I don't talk about it. I don't talk about weight gain or weight loss. It's not something that I talk about on this channel. But I am going to talk about it once so that you can know what's going on. And maybe if you're wondering what is going on, because I've had all those questions, you can just know. And that's it. I've a lot of the times been quite physically different to my peers in the terms of my height. If I walk into a room or if I'm singing at church and I'm standing there, I look around. I'm always one of the tallest women around. Not that I'm super, super tall, but you know, the average height around where I live is quite a bit shorter than me. So in that sense, my presence has always sort of stood out. And even when I was little in primary school, I was always that much taller than everyone else. And I had a really traumatizing experience in 6th grade. This was in a primary school in the United States. I don't know what the teacher was thinking about, but she was teaching us about weight and volume and all of these measuring things. She brought a huge scale to the classroom. And it was those scales that have like a needle that moves. You can see how many pounds. And she made all of us weigh ourselves so that we would know. And this was everyone watching. And I probably was the girl that weighed the most in the whole room. And I remember vividly standing on that scale and it saying like 120 pounds or something in the context of an 11-year-old. And most of the girls, they were like 70, 80 pounds. And they were like, oh! And it was like they were so shocked to see someone that weighed so much more. They didn't take into account that I was that much taller either. But that made me feel a certain way. And I've always felt a certain way, although I've kept it to myself. Everyone has had different experiences like this. Now, this video is totally unscripted. I haven't written notes. I'm just talking what comes to mind about the topic. I've had those feelings since I was pretty little, that I'm the biggest one around, and it didn't have to do with my size or if I was overweight or whatnot. When I was young, I was doing a lot of sports. I was definitely not overweight, but I was just taller and I just weighed more. And I got comments like that, even from boys, even all through high school. Having experienced all those things, I never want to be the cause of that type of feeling for someone else. So I've always been very, very cautious. And I know a lot of you might mean well. I hope you mean well by making these comments. I don't only think about how I feel with negative comments or positive comments about this topic. I also think about people that are going to read those comments. I'm not exactly sure why everyone has noticed just now that I have lost some weight when this has been happening for like a year and a half. It's been happening super, super slowly. Very slowly, and I can say it's totally intentional. I've always been an active person. I've always loved running or doing some type of thing, being active, and I had a hiatus, sort of post-pandemic for about 2 years where I did gain some weight. I was aware, and even before the pandemic, even before I gained some weight, I've always had medical controls with some specialists because I have some chronic illnesses that I do not discuss here. They are endocrine type of chronic diseases that I've been dealing with since I was 18, for the oldest one in my life. And then some have appeared later on in life. So I've always been checking my bloods. You know, I'm someone that's always doing a really comprehensive annual checkup with my endocrinologist and sort of thing. And there came a point where things were not amazing like they used to be. For me, it's a fatty liver, it's high cholesterol, it's my insulin resistance, hypothyroidism. And they're not just all about those things that can sometimes be asymptomatic, but it's also just about the way that I was feeling. I was feeling tired, unmotivated, mainly tired. Like I would clean the house and I would be exhausted. It was just a whole different way that I felt stamina-wise. Living my life being a workaholic on this channel, there are periods of time where I have worked so much. I was barely getting 4 hours of sleep. If I got 5, I was happy. I was getting up super early to keep working when I'd gone to bed at 2 a.m. So I would say jokingly, I'm like a night owl, but I'm also a morning bird. That's not really a sustainable way to live for a long period of time. And I actually did that to myself for a couple of years over here. During the pandemic, I was just pushing out video after video and filming, and it was getting the best of me, and it really did affect the way that I was feeling. And in the end, it did affect the way that all my bloods came out and all my regular tests came out, which before then were acceptable. I did make a decision, voluntary of course, and very motivated, because I love lifting weights and I know that this is something that can help me preserve muscle mass, even increase my muscle mass, which can make my metabolism work a little bit better, and in the end just lose some weight. I never wanted to do crash systems. I always wanted to be science-based. That's why I'm seeing an endocrinologist, I'm seeing a nutritionist, I'm working out twice a week with a personal trainer. It makes a huge difference. I've had a personal trainer make me a program every 2 months that I follow. I'm lifting weights, heavy lifting 6 times a week. The only day that I rest is Saturday. I have constant muscle ache. And don't think I'm suffering. I'm really enjoying this. But it means I'm also tired. It means I cannot work until late anymore. It means that maybe you've noticed I'm not putting out that many videos as I did in the past. I'm aiming for 8 to 9 videos a month tops, when in the past I used to do around 12, even more. I just cannot physically do anymore. And I'm happy. It's been happening super slowly. I've been losing like half a pound, if even, a week. And there have been periods where I've been stagnated and just staying the same, maybe for 2 months, and then I start losing a little bit again. So it's been a very slow process. I have been controlling, how much lean muscle I have, all those sort of things with the professionals. And my goal is to just keep on me as much muscle mass as I can, because I know it's beneficial for me. And I love weightlifting. No one ever had to convince me that strength training was something that was going to be positive for me, because I've always enjoyed it. I've just taken it more seriously now, and I've just been more consistent with it. How does this affect me in sewing? Of course it does. There are some clothes in my wardrobe that I have to take in and adapt. There are others that I'm going to have to look at donating, because I can't just keep taking things in. At a certain point, some things are just not in the shape that they should be anymore, and you just can't keep taking them in. But I'm okay with that. I have the skills to create garments forever. I can always make new garments. I don't get attached to material things. I never have. I've moved from country to country and gotten rid of all my things like that without even batting an eyelid. I would say the only thing that I'm attached to are my leather bags and shoes, which are not affected, thankfully. So I'm doing what I can. I'm trying to sew a little bit more neat garments if I can. I know those have a little bit more leeway in the way that they fit, but it does affect my sewing. It just means I'm printing out patterns again, patterns I've already made and loved, and I have a full-blown muslin already perfected for another size. I'm just doing it again. I think having to do that work again is not a negative thing for me. I'll just do it again and that's it. I'm sewing for the size that I have right now, and I'm not waiting for this or this certain goal to do this or that. I've just never done that. And I have mentioned that I'm sewing for my size right now. I did want to let you know what was going on. It's nothing negative. It's something very positive for me. I am enjoying it a lot. Although I am very tired, I am very sore. I always have aches and pains everywhere. My muscles just screaming, but that's just the way it is. And I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it is my cup of tea. I just wanted to let you know what's going on. I'm in no way trying to encourage comments about weight loss here on the channel. In fact, I don't really engage that much with that type of comment over here, because this is about sewing and about how clothes fit, no matter how much my bust circumference is at the time. It's about not having a drag line here and there, and those things aren't really affected by the size that you're sewing. Maybe this video has gone longer than what I intended. Again, unscripted. I have no notes. It's just what's coming out of my mind right now. And I just wanted to talk about this once.
And if there are any questions, comments in the future, I will refer back to this for anyone that wants to know what is going on, because I've had that question, what's going on? And I'm like, what is going on? I don't get the question.
I did want to share that part of my life, because it is actually a big part of my life, and it's affecting everything about me right now, the process I'm going through. It's still an ongoing process and I'm enjoying it. I am a person after all. I do have a lot of things going on behind the scenes that you don't even imagine. And although I try to keep this channel 100% sewing, I do weave in a little bit about my own person. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again with actual sewing next time. Bye.